This. Okay, so you guys have to come a little bit closer. There we go. A little bit closer. Right here. There we go. Okay. So we're here in one of the settlements in Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea. And this is my new friend Raymond. Raymond Tuku, and feel free to introduce yourself to cameras.
Yes, my name is Raymond Tuku. I'm from Hagen, the Western Islands, from Papua New Guinea. And I met this guy just now, so I was trying to interview him on something in maybe 60s to latest now. I think I have some few knowledge about the country and itself within our province and our nation. And I will thank you, Mr. Ali.
You're welcome. Thank you.
From America, and I have never met this guy before, but we just met today. So I don't know what's going to ask about.
Yeah. Hopefully good questions. Yeah, but I think you're gonna have good answers. But Raymond's he's been around for a while, from the '60s to now, and met a lot of people and seen the changes of the country. So I kind of want to give the people back home some information on the changes that have happened in this country, so that they know more about the progress and the transition that's been happening in Papua New Guinea, because people in the rest of the world don't know that much about Papua New Guinea. They think maybe it's still like an island nation that has people that live in the countryside and don't know anything about the rest of the world, but I want to show that the progress that's been made here. I guess my first question to you is, right now we're seeing that there's some big buildings and everything in Port Moresby. There's big hotels like Crown Plaza and Holiday Inn and things like that, and there's a shopping mall and there's progress, and it's starting to look a lot like the Western countries. It's looking a lot like America and Europe and places like this because of the influence from TV and internet. But what did it look like here in the 1960s when you first were around?
Yeah, actually I was in here in 1980s. And I've seen there's no improvement. There's few buildings, one in Crown Plaza, the other one at Pineapple Building, and the other one is Hugo's Building down at 2 Mile. There's two other buildings, IRC, and there are a few buildings. There was one road, there's no two roads. One way driving up, one way driving down. And the things roughly changed so rapidly in 1990s, and back 80s onwards, slowly, till then 90s and up to till now, the country's going fast. Everything changed rapidly, very quickly.
Yeah.
Right with me. If I have some pictures, I might have show it to you, but I don't have it.
Okay.
But I was in the 80s, and from 80s till now, maybe 30 years or 20 years around here, and I see the changes very quickly.
What is the...
And the modernization, we don't have TVs on those times in the 80s.
Okay.
And there's nothing there. No even mobile phone that I have, I don't have it. We normally use the landline and all these things. But now modernization goes fast, and roughly about year 2000 and 90s, like 2000 onwards.
Okay. And what would you say is the biggest change that you have seen in the people or in the culture or in the cities? What is the number one biggest change that you have seen?
The biggest change is the culture. Culture, it's changed so fast. So our kids, they don't know, these people in Moresby, they're brought up here, they don't know language, they don't know real the cultures. But I've been brought up in a village and I know my tribesmen, I know the cultures, but those people lately, they're born some mixed marriages, like some from Brabal or some from Tolas, they don't know the languages.
Okay.
Both languages, they know Pidgin and English.
Okay.
And they know no communication because they can not speak our own tribes language.
Right.
Both parties.
And there's how many languages in the country?
We got about 200 something languages.
Wow.
There are a lot of
And none of them are alike. So like
No, none of them are like.
you can't really communicate with somebody from a different village or a different tribe or something.
The different tribes okay, but the province, it's some province will normally have same language like Wabek and like Jiwaga newly elected, they've got the same language. Like again, we got same language, but in Tari or in Morobe or some other place, the same district in even Goroga, a very small place or it's a town, but they got more languages than any other nation, any other provinces there.
Okay.
So it's it's before that colonies times.
Yeah.
There was a primitive Stone Ages. People don't move around. They stay in one place. The mountain is the boundary.
They're like hunter-gatherers and they just stay in one
Stay
little
in
area.
one place. You cannot go. Enemies will kill you.
Okay.
There's times so they have got their own language.
Okay. Or a side question to that. As an elder, how old are you, by the way?
I am roughly 60 something. 62.
You look like 42. Okay.
Oh, no.
But that's a compliment. But are you afraid that with the modernization, with I know there's a lot of outside businesses coming, like Chinese and stuff like that, and building these shopping centers and building these buildings and hotels. Are you afraid that the younger generation is going to lose the culture? They will forget what made Papua New Guinea Papua New Guinea?
Definitely they'll lose it. There's no two about it. And I'm here and I'm telling you. Now you see, traditional cultures, in most they want to change.
Yeah.
They will never put a naked completely. They put some Western things, put them on their body, and then they put the face. They paint themselves with modern things, and then they try to mix with the culture. It doesn't work that way. Well, those times the culture is the culture. You don't buy any Western things to make out of culture.
Yeah. So it's kind of a fake culture.
Yeah, fake culture there's going to be. Like culture, so you can go see modern things to dress themselves.
Is there a way to save it? Is there a way to make sure it doesn't die off?
There's a way to save, but we Papua New Guinea, we have a slow-minded people. We don't normally change things quickly. If like in Chinese or in India or some other countries, they don't normally keep the cultures.
Yeah.
Very powerful culture, they will never lose it.
Right.
Because from generation to generation. We just developed in 60s.
Yeah.
Then the modernization comes so fast, and the culture's just disappearing.
So people are enjoying the Western culture and they're forgetting about their own.
Forget about the culture.
They like all the computers and technology and everything. Okay. I want to hear your story from the 60s, because you were telling me earlier that you were educated or taught by missionaries. Can you tell us who they were and what you learned and everything?
Yeah, I was taught by, in 1968 I went to do my prep. And I don't know the pidgin, I don't know the English.
Yeah.
We normally do the sign writing with the drawing with the grass or mud.
Okay.
At the clay or something.
Okay.
Then we stop. Eventually, I don't know how I learned to speak English, and I don't know how I learned the teaching. It's automatic, like we learn.
You just pick it up.
Pick it up from the teachers, but teachers, they're very hard to teach us. There was no English at all.
Yeah.
No, nothing.
Nobody spoke English in the
Nobody
90s.
speaks English.
But now almost everybody
Now
who's young
everybody.
speaks.
Pidgin is the influence now. We can understand what we're talking. Because every community we can go, we can speak pidgin to communicate the other. In these days there was no pidgin.
Yeah.
Pidgin come later. It's
Pidgin is like a mix of English, right?
mixed with Germany and those people, they wartime. That's the pidgin comes.
Okay.
They communicate in those times. At that time there was no only English, but missionaries, I know God must have given them talent to teach us, and we know the English.
Where were they from? Where were these missionaries?
The missionaries that taught me were in a primary. They were from Poland.
Okay.
The Catholic Church.
Yeah.
They're from Poland, Norway. I don't know how did they come, and there's no big aircraft, and how did they manage to get into the island, which I don't know.
Yeah.
That was, I was small, I don't know where I went to school.
So they came to the highlands
They came to the
somehow.
highlands, they taught
So
us.
you were in the highlands in the 60s when these missionaries came over teaching you, and you didn't come to Moresby
No,
until
Moresby
20
I
years
came in
later.
1980. I was brought up I was born in my village, in a primitive. Not even lap, no nothing. I live in a banana leaf or some leaves out there, so they feed me there.
Hut or something?
No, nothing, naked. And I went to school with one rope in front of me and my back, nothing. I normally put blankets or those sleeves there at the back of me and I come to school.
So when you tell me that in the 1960s, when the missionaries came, you didn't really have much shelter, you didn't really have clothes or education.
We went to school on an open grass.
Do you think that, you're saying that life has changed and things are trending in a different direction. Do you think this is better or do you think that was better?
No, this is better. I think it's better, but we are going too fast and people don't understand, realize the things that we do. In those other times it was slow, but we understand what we're doing. And they've got a clear picture of what they talk, how they communicate. They as some sort of questionable before they go. Even you go to your office, you want to see for what reasons. Yeah. You want to talk to somebody else, why you want to talk to him, say hello, and then you go for purpose. For nowadays, screaming all over the places, at night, beer after beer, 24 hours.
So back in the 1980s, there was no crime? It was safe, it was peaceful?
Yeah, peaceful. I live on the street. When I got drunk, I don't even go. I just sleep outside the hotels. Yeah. Bars, and I sleep by. There was no security there. It was good. But now if you sleep outside, they rob you. If you're a woman, they have sex with you.
They rape?
They rape you, that's it. Nowadays. Before, no nothing. We were scared. There's no law. But we abide with the law.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. In the 60s, the missionaries were a very God-given people, which we should have appreciated. But this government, modernization, people forget about the missionaries. We wouldn't be this way. Not a government service go first. Missionaries go first. Government service come later. And that's one thing.
So is the government, are they supportive of people like missionaries and
yeah,
people coming to the country?
Not really at those times. They individual played, but in those times they're slowly supporting the missionaries, but not allocation of budget, like money and all.
They wouldn't fund them. Right?
No fund them. But
now
they just support. Now they're funding, but not. I don't know whether they got much out of it or not. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not on the field. So.
And before 1960, when the missionaries came, this was not a Christian country, right? Or was it?
No Christian. Missionaries bring the Christianity here. Okay. We worship. My father worship dead men. They're skeletons. We pick them up and make up of a small house, and we normally call it. I don't know what they call it. House tambrano, but that's a private house for certain time to offer.
It's like a funeral house or something like that?
Yeah, something like that, and they go over. And I know these things, but my father did it.
Now it's a Christian country, now
we are Christian country, and the missionary tell them to bury those damn things and them to Lord. Then people obey.
Okay.
And that's what we are growing fast. That's what maybe that's one of the things.
Okay. Since we already talked about kind of the history of how we got here and everything, and the modern day, I know that today we had an election, right? And the election is, now they've made the announcements and they've declared some people, and the Prime Minister, Peter, right?
Yeah,
Peter O'Neill. Do you think that with the new government, the People's National Congress, and the party that is going to win most of the seats, do you think that the life in Papua New Guinea in the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years is going to improve? Or do you think it'll continue to grow too fast for the people to keep up? Go ahead.
That's for sure. It won't grow. It's always we still have some sort of a little bit of improvement, but not much improvement. Because most fundings come from offices, bank loans, go to individual pockets for MPs, supporters, and the cronies. Majority gain out from them. Yeah. They benefit from them. Yeah. People like me, I've been here for too long, I haven't got anything. And some people who are younger ages, they are luxury. Yeah. Because the corrupt creep into it. Yeah. And I can remember the first Prime Minister, Michael Smith, was the honest guy. Premiers were honest guys. Time they left with nothing. And said Julius changed. their prime ministers, I was there and they were the prime ministers. And I've seen that now. The latest is Mekere Morata is coming in. They're good people. But the younger ones, they corrupt, self-centered.
For money.
Money. You can see the plastic guys, and back home there's no plastic guys.
Yeah.
We still have mandate to pick the road with our physicals. These are a few areas. If you go right in the village, still we make a big push materials. There's no money.
So like these monies that should be going to the people.
Those should be going to the people, and they're throwing somewhere else. Like obviously they buy the properties out.
Okay. I'm just going to ask you a couple things to kind of show for the audience that the money's not there. How expensive is like education? Like if it's not government paid, if you have to pay for schooling or university, is it very expensive for somebody to get an education?
It's very expensive.
How much in like, if you had to guess in thousands of kina, which is your money, how much is it?
From high schools, it's roughly about 3,000.
3,000
3,000, 2,000, 1,000.
per month or
No, for a year.
for a year?
And then if you're talking about how our parents will sponsor them to go to school and extra money for them, maybe roughly a year is 5,000 for unemployed and village farmers very hard.
Yeah, how much, like what is the average salary for an unemployed village farmer or someone like that?
There's no, the average salary will be annually maybe, say about 3,000, 4,000.
Average annual salary?
And if the villages, maybe that much.
So it's the same amount that they have to pay for one child to go to school
That's
is
right.
what they make. And usually most people have more than one child, right? They have 3 or 4 or 5 or
It's
something.
impossible. Some, in my time, some of them did not make to high school because there's no money.
So they don't have the ability to get education.
And nowadays, if there was a school, there was no free education. Most of the kids won't go to school.
Okay. And I want to just add something on top of that, that right now we're in a settlement. You guys can just show that over there. And the people live here basically. They sell betel nut, they sell everything, so they live here, right? But when I've been traveling around Moresby, I'm seeing houses. I'm seeing different houses and things like that. And the people that live in houses, how much do the houses cost? How much money do you spend for like one family house or something like that?
That's roughly about say 20,000 if you want to own.
20,000.
Yep.
20,000 kina.
20,000 kina if you want to own a house, family house.
And then per child, at least 5,000 kina or something like that, depending on the school and stuff like that. So
Yep.
if they have 2 or 3 or 4 kids, that's 40,000 or 35,000, and they only make
3,000,
3,000, 5,000. So this,
Even you would never own
Yeah.
a roof on top of it, iron roof,
Yeah.
whatever. You want to boost materials or something. I said we can make it.
so there's no way to actually have a house. There's no way to
No, you don't
actually
have
send kids to school. So there's no way to get that education or have that better life. So it's almost like there's like a high upper class and a lower class, and there's
you're right.
nothing in between right now.
You see that most of them got a big two-way roads and overhead roads, and you see a lot of things, big roads building.
Yeah.
But we citizens, we are campaigning and voting for them. We are not benefiting.
So they're making these bridges and these things.
These big
and
spend a lot of money. Like we should,
Nothing
how
free.
about us?
No affordable housing.
I see we are dirty people living in a bloody bush house.
What do you think needs to change?
We need to change our people before we go to those infrastructures. Why they go first and we are still living in a back states?
How do the people or how does the country change that? What do you think?
I don't think nobody will change this. I think God might be changed. They are corrupt people. The system is corrupt itself.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
That I wouldn't answer.
yeah, there's no real answers.
No really answer.
It takes time.
Takes time. Maybe God knows what to do.
You know, my solution, I think it's got to be education. You know, I think it has to be the younger people get educated. They go to school slowly. They understand that this is how a system should work, and then maybe in a generation or 2 generations, they get into government and they start to change things. Right? That's going to take some time.
You're right. But that takes time, so you must be honest.
Yeah.
The person that learned to be honest, like those first missionaries, first parliamentarians,
Yeah.
people like us, our teachers at that time, they were honest. Nowadays, corrupt teachers were not honest nowadays. They can do some other things and they send the kids back. They never taught the right subject.
It's unfortunate. You know, it makes me sad to see because you know, I'm traveling to many countries to try to help people, and I'm trying to educate by showing these videos and raising awareness and showing people that we're all equal and we're all the same, and me and you can sit here and talk and stuff. But I wish I had a magic solution. You know, and I don't think there is a magic solution.
How can you find it?
You know, not just in your country, in many countries, it's the same problem. You know, when you go to Africa, when you go to Asia, South America, the same problem, and there's no, even in America, when you go in the poor areas, it's the same thing.
I thought that they were very well civilized. Now he's telling me that.
Well,
I
they're civilized.
haven't been in America.
Yeah, you should come visit. No, they're civilized, but the problem is there's also a upper class. And then
Like us, we are doing now, what I'm here saying.
We have a middle class too, but there's also a lower class, you know. But we have the same issue where people don't have jobs, people don't have health care, they can't go and get treated in the hospital, you know, if they're sick or something. People can't afford to go to school, or they have to drop out of school because they have to pay for their family or get a job or something like that. It's the same exact problem, it's just worse in some countries than it is over there.
I was just in Western countries. In Western countries. Western countries. They don't own the land. Government owns. We own our own land. And then we kept others land. We make our own money. That's why the 90% of our population, we live on farming. We don't live in the government. Government, we are not put on there, or not putting on a payroll. We live on every family.
And they own their own
land. They own
in
land.
The highlands.
In the island, they own their own land, they own their own mountains, whatever.
Okay.
And government does not own.
So, like, let's say the farmers in the highlands, when they grow their crops, right? They grow a sweet potato or taro or something like that. Can they keep that for themselves?
No. If there are a lot of them, they sell them.
Okay.
Sell them, they make little money. That's what I'm saying, 3,000 or 4,000 pay him or something.
Okay.
That's what they do. That's where it's just coffee, we sell coffee, tea, whatever. Those are the hard-working guys that make it. Lazy people like us, chewing beer, drinking beer, and going, we sleep hungry. Even the bush is there, but if we're lazy, you will never get anything.
It's true everywhere. It's true everywhere. If I was lazy, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, you're right.
Exactly. But you know, you mentioned one thing to me earlier that I want to just talk about, since we're talking about the farmers and their lives, that you said now you guys are settled here. You're in the settlement, you've lived here for a number of years.
Yes.
But your family, when you were growing up, you guys moved around, right? And you moved around in the highlands. You moved around there.
Not really.
Where were you moving?
We were not moving at the time. That's my father and my father's time, they were travelers.
I see.
Not my father's time and me, no. We got a tradition, we got a land. Nobody comes to our territory, we fight against it, we keep the land.
Okay.
For survival, for gardening, for future generations.
Sure.
So we got the boundaries. The river, mountains, we make the boundaries for next tribes not come to our area.
Okay. So society used to be traveling.
Before.
There used to be nomads.
No man's land before. That's what we got the first garden in our history is called Cook. That's first.
Yeah.
That's about 100 years, maybe 500-600 years ago. Then we come from generations from I think Africa or continent or something. That's what the geologists or.
You know, I went to the National Museum today.
Yes.
And
That's what I'm trying to do.
I was asking this question of them, that the people here, they've been here for thousands of years.
Thousands of years,
right?
yes.
But they had to come from somewhere else.
That's right.
You know, and that's somewhere else. Is it Africa? Is it Asia? Where is it exactly?
I don't know.
We don't know, huh?
Yeah. Nobody tell you.
Because they recently, 2 weeks ago, there was a article that I read that said that Aborigines people, they found out that they've lived in Australia for 65,000 years. They lived there a very long time. But they initially came from like Africa or somewhere else. So you guys are probably not related to the Aborigines, but you probably came from the same areas, right?
Yeah, that's like African continent or something.
But I guess my question with that is that all those people that came from wherever they came and they populated this land, there were 200 languages and many tribes like all over the country.